Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, May 1st, and I can give you a little update tour on the garden again. I skipped last week's because there just wasn't a lot going on, so it wasn't very interesting. We've had some things sprout, some flowers have started to open up a little bit, and I brought some herbs in, so it's looking different than it did in the last video. So I will give you guys a tour, show you what's going on. I'm back on the GoPro today. Gonna see if I do it a little earlier in the morning, if that helps with the lighting problems I was having. We will see. But yeah, I mean, this is still really early in the gardening season here in Wisconsin, so there's not a lot going on, but it is progressing. So let's go see what's going on. So we will start to the left as usual. You can see my little mini rose plant has some leaves on it finally. I have one on each side of the garden gate. They're really pretty. This is what the blooms will look like. I was kind of obsessed with them last year, so I am thrilled that they survived the winter. Pansies that I planted are doing really good. The tulips are doing great. This guy actually opened up yesterday. It's a little early in the morning yet, so I will probably walk out later and get a shot once he is opened up so you guys can see what that looks like. And then the muscari are still doing good. The two daffodil that I moved probably last week are doing good. And then I found a third and fourth one that were really growing in the fence. So I just moved this guy. He's not too happy yet. And the other one, you can see pieces of him out there, did not survive transplant. He kind of got all of his leaves chopped off accidentally. So whoops. So in here, I bought some rosemary and oregano and parsley and the little baby cilantro that I had transplanted in here is growing up nicely. I love the pansies. They're so cute. The thyme is still doing well. I planted some lemon balm over here, although I have heard that it is really invasive. I guess it's in the mint family. So we will see if it stays there or not. If it starts going everywhere, I will move it. That's not a problem. Let me move so you can see in here. So I kind of started weeding the asparagus bed a little bit from where I could see that it was safe to do it. I did end up buying some more bare root asparagus because I definitely lost some over the winter, but you can see it is coming up nicely. Look at how tiny they are. Teeny little baby asparagus. So I'm just gonna kind of keep slowly pulling the grass out of there in areas that I think it's safe, and then I will mulch around the individual plants. They're so young, I don't want to mulch right up next to them because I'm afraid that that would kill them. And I need to feed them. I guess asparagus really likes a nitrogen feed, so I'm going to get probably blood meal for them, which is the same thing that I fed my garlic with last week. I didn't get that on video, but garlic likes a nitrogen feed in the spring, so I gave it some. Nothing's coming up over here yet. My peas, which I was thinking were not coming for two reasons. One, they were older seeds, and two, I didn't soak this bag of seeds, and the bag specifically said you get a better germination rate with soaking, and I didn't because I was feeling lazy. So it probably took 3 weeks for these guys to start sprouting, which is really long. But there are a few showing signs of life now. And then I sprinkled some marigold seeds in here. So I have little stuff popping up in here. I'm not sure if either of those are marigolds or if it's just weeds that came in with the topsoil, because as I've said, I am still a rather newbie gardener and I'm not great at identifying seedlings for sure. So those could be marigold seeds, those could be weed seeds. So what I do is I let them grow until I can tell, and then, you know, do what's needed. If it's a marigold, it'll be left, maybe transplant it a little bit. Ooh, I have a cardigan on this morning. But if it's a marigold, it'll be left, maybe moved around, and if it's a weed, it'll get pulled. I did move some violas over to the corners of this bed. There's a woodpecker in the tree right behind me. And then over here, the rhubarb are doing well. I had to move a different pansy into this corner because the one that was there died, which was a little bit sad, but I have so many of them, I guess it doesn't matter. And I found another rhubarb plant growing underneath the weed tarp on the other side where the rhubarb had been planted. So now I am up to 7 rhubarb plants, which is just fine with me. I love the pansies in the corners. So this is the bed that I planted kale on either side of the rhubarb. I think I need to figure out something else to go in between the rhubarb and the kale. If you know something that'll go well with rhubarb and kale and not get super big, let me know, because I don't think this rhubarb, it's still pretty young, so it won't get super big this year. I'd like to put something else in here. I was gonna do nasturtium, but I guess that really likes to climb, so I might wait on that and do an arched trellis in the area we're going to expand into and put the nasturtium around that. But I do think the kale, I thought I just saw one, started germinating. This is my first year growing kale. So I've got, of course I can't see any now that I have the camera out, but so there is some stuff coming up along the line that I planted them in, so I'm just gonna, and there's some clover down there too, but I'm gonna assume the little seedlings that came up are kale. Who knows? For my little DIY greenhouses, I need to do a repair on them. We had a crazy windstorm, and this one, as you can see, it got loose. But there is stuff growing. Not so much in this one. There's one little sprout in one of those red ones, and I think one little sprout in one of the black squares. I plant all of those square ones are tomatoes. I do not know if those are tomato seedlings or weeds, because again, I just used topsoil for it, so it could very well be weeds. In here, there's actually quite a bit. So this is all flowers and herbs, and there is quite a bit of stuff sprouting in here, which makes me really happy. I'd love to know what I put in that yellow one, but because that's the biggest one. I have no idea. I know I put lavender in these 2 purple ones, and I think I put borage in the blue one. I didn't label them because I just didn't care at the time. I had other things to do. Garlic is looking great, especially after feeding it. I feel like it got a lot fatter within a short amount of time after having fed it. So there will be lots and lots of garlic. I'm still eating off of the garlic from last year's garden, and it was not even close to this much. So that's pretty cool. I had planted shallots in the middle of this bed. I don't know that I see any coming up. That could be one. It could be a weed. You never know with me. I grow weeds for a while because it takes me a while to know. And I did onion seeds in this bed, which one they're a little behind, so they would never get as big as like a normal onion bulb would be, and I'm not sure that I even see anything sprouting, so I may try and get some onion bulbs from the store, because I did see some when I was there the other day. And I did bunching onions in this one, and again, I'm not really seeing anything yet, so I may grab bulbs from that. This, you know, onions, you're really, especially here, you're supposed to start indoors a few weeks ago, and I don't have anywhere to do that. So it was just kind of experimental to see if I could get them to grow out here. And I very well may still have some germinate and grow in these beds, just likely not as many as I would want. Spinach and lettuce and potatoes. These sticks down the middle are my seed potatoes. I haven't gotten my grow bags yet. They're supposed to be here on May 5th now. So I think I'm gonna do some mini potatoes in the grow bags. But these are all Yukon Gold. That's our favorite potato. I think that's everybody's favorite potato. And then 2 rows of spinach and 2 rows of lettuce, which I also have not had great germination with so far. I'm wondering if it's from the mulch, if I should have done it more like I did with the carrots, where there's just mulch to the side and a clear space in the middle for the seedlings. So I will give it, you know, another week, and then if I'm still not seeing a lot of stuff pop up, I will just go ahead and replant, because that's not a big deal. It's all a big learning curve since this is my first time using mulch. And I did scrape it back and then put a very light layer over top, because I know these seeds are teeny tiny. So you can see some of the lettuce is coming up in here. That's lettuce. But not as much as I would have expected, because especially the lettuce side, I put down a lot of seed. So we will see. This bed I think was finished in the last video, so nothing has changed there. Nothing's planted in there. My mother-in-law did give me her hoop houses and like the hoops for it and fabric. So if she gives me her broccoli and cauliflower starts, if she has enough, I'll have to see if I can get the hoop houses to fit in here for them, because that would be really nice. Over here, you can see I started filling this bed, but still need probably 3 wheelbarrows of dirt, and then probably 3 or 4 of mulch. And then I started bringing in some rocks along here, and everything is just chugging along. I need to get some more shade plants around this rattlesnake orchid, because they really like shade, and these daylilies are not happy. I thought they would perk up and shade him, but that is just not what is happening. So I need to get something else in here to protect that from the sun. I haven't decided what yet, but I will likely get something soon. And then nothing that I've planted down here has sprouted. Oh, let's go back this way. This area outside the garden where it will be expanded is getting cleared slowly but surely. There's a tree there and a tree there and there, and a few trees here that need to go, and we might be getting rid of this oak this year. I'm not sure, because that's a big project, and I really want this space ready to go by June, because that's when I can start planting hot weather stuff outside. I just don't know. I keep seeing tomatoes at the store and peppers, and I'm tempted to buy them now, because I don't know if they're going to be available when it's warmer and everyone can plant them outside. And then I have to like move them in and out of the garage every day, because that's about the only space I could keep them safely overnight, and I don't feel like doing that for a month. So then I thought about maybe putting the tomatoes somewhere else in here. There's so many decisions. Gardening is so hard. I mean, I love it, but it's a lot to learn what can go where and when you should put it out. Nothing is really popping here. You can see a little bit of action going on in there. I think that is a peony that is waking up in there, which I planted those in the last video. These little guys are cute. I'm forgetting what they're called right now. It's a shade plant, so I may end up moving those, but I did plant things next to it that get pretty big. This is spiderwort, and this is yarrow, and those will both get really tall. So I'm hoping that they'll give that enough shade, but otherwise I'll just move them. The strawberry beds are doing all right. I did start weeding them a little bit, but it's a lot. I'm thinking I may end up doing boxes on the ground for the strawberries next year, and then having like a removable cover over top, because the one thing I absolutely hated last year was the bird netting and having to take it on and off, and it's just a pain in the butt. So if I do a more permanent system for them next year, that might be really nice, and maybe move these into the expansion area, because this is a prime spot. Like, this is some really good growing space, and these beds are, I think, about 12 by 14, and there's 2 of them. That's a lot of space in the middle of my garden for strawberries, which is great, but maybe I can use it a little more wisely since the strawberries don't go all summer. All of my carrots have things popping up. I haven't quite decided if it's carrots popping up or not, because I felt like carrots had longer leaves even from the start, but like more like that one. Like that one feels like it's a carrot to me. This little one right here. But we'll see. I definitely had some issues with it washing to the side. Oh, and you can see here's a carrot that overwintered. There's actually a few of those in the strawberry bed because the strawberry bed got expanded. I'm actually going to leave the carrots that overwintered because I think I'm going to let those go to seed and collect the seed, because I don't think they're going to be good for eating at this point, but seed collecting should be just fine. I'm almost done with this path. It's open here and here. I could fit like 3 or 4 more rocks in there, depending on what size I get. So yeah, almost done with the main walking path. It's really nice. And then over here, around the carrot row, Walmart had this really sad container of leeks that was $2, and there had to be 300 of these bad boys shoved in there. So I brought it home and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be so good, and I'm gonna separate them individually and replant them. And yeah, I did that for about 10, and then I got sick of it and started planting them in clumps again. So we'll see how that does. I've never even had a leek. I just thought they looked really sad with so many in that tiny thing. So I thought I should bring it home and save them and possibly eat them or feed them to the chickens. I don't know. I'll have to see if the chickens can eat leeks. The mint, per usual, going crazy, spreading everywhere. I do think I may find a container for these bad boys and contain them, because as much as I love mint, it goes everywhere. The previous homeowners had it in a tire, and I hated that. It was hideous. So I put them in this, knowing very well that that was not going to stop them. But that worked fine last year. This year I'm thinking, well, maybe something else. We'll see. Chives are looking beautiful. I cannot wait for them to start blooming. And I have some popping up over here. Now, the question is, are they the white ones that I planted seedlings of, or are they just little babies from this? We will see. Lots of violas in here. I have lots of different viola colors. The violas will probably be transplanted around the edges of the garden eventually. I actually moved them all to this area last year so that I had them all in one spot and didn't accidentally kill them, because I do like them and I wanted to save them, but they were just everywhere, spread around the garden. So I contained them, and then this year I'll probably move them to the edges where I want, or like the corners of the flower beds like I did in the pea bed. Now there are some little signs of life around the lavender plant. So I don't think it's coming from the root system of this plant. I think it is most likely seeds that fell last year. If it is lavender seeds, again, it could be weeds. I just have no idea. I'm gonna hope it's lavender seeds because it's right in this area, but we will see what happens. Never-ending guessing game of Michelle's garden. Oh, what else is going on over here? None of the dahlias that I planted popped up yet, but I figured if they make it to growing again, it will be probably 3 weeks, 4 weeks before I see anything. And they've only been in there for about 2 weeks. Here's the echinacea is coming up, and the Shasta daisies are over there doing all right. I've got some chamomile, which maybe I should have split that up a little bit instead of leaving it in that like poof ball of chamomile, but we'll see. It seems fine for now. And the bee balm is just crazy. I knew that spreads, but oh my goodness, it spreads. So yeah, that is how the garden is looking today. I will take a picture of what it looks like because I took one on the 1st of April, and then I'll put them so you can see the progression from April 1st to May 1st. And I might go up in my daughter's room and take a picture out of her window because she actually has the best view of the garden and it's up, so then you can get a better idea of the layout of everything. So yeah, that's the garden today. And the dog. Max! Are you pooping in the back of my video? Oh, guilty as charged. Oh, dogs. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you're going to have a fabulous weekend and that you have some good weather wherever you are. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, I'd love to have you subscribe. I'll be doing lots of videos showing the garden progression and what I'm doing in here throughout this year. And then, of course, other stuff we have going on in the homestead. There's some new surprises coming up soon and lots of big things we're working on. So it's going to be a fun year to share with you guys what we're doing.